beloveds. Namaste. This is Cristina Huntley, founder of the Creator Consciousness Institute, and welcome to the Miracle Channel. So in this video, I wanted to share with you something that came up in a conversation with a friend who is also a fellow healer. And they were asking me, how is it that you help someone have a miraculous healing, or help yourself have a miraculous healing? And by miraculous, they meant a sudden disappearance of the dis-ease or the discomfort or what wasn't working for that person. And so it was a great question, because miraculous healing can be this very nebulous, hard to understand, mystical phenomenon, and it is mystical, and there's so much that cannot be spoken. There are many things that are not to be put into words, that are to be kept holy. But as this friend asked me, I tuned in and I was given this image, and I felt it was really helpful, so I want to share it with you. So this may serve you if you are a healer and you're in the process of assisting someone through their journey of wholeness, or if you're someone who's really adept at their own self-healing and is working on moving some major energies out and making space for all the good that's coming in. So if you imagine consciousness or the energies in our system as cobwebs, some of them are immaculate, pristine, gorgeous matrices of light. And some of these matrices are not serving us. They're denser energies, they're pain, they're illness, false belief systems. And they could either just be something in our lives that's emerging that's not working for us, like a conflictual relationship or poverty and struggle, or ill health, or they could actually be manifest as an illness, whether it's diagnosed by an MD or understood by an ND. You know, energies have ways of densifying. So whether it's still up here as an uncomfortable energy or it's already manifest as something you want to clear, here's the way to understand it. So if you imagine that which wants to be released is a cobweb. It's a beautiful spider web. Now if you think of a spider web, it has anchor points. And each of those anchor points hold that web, that matrix, in place. Now, in the case of miraculous healing, often what we try to do is we try to bombard the center of the web, which is the strongest point in the web. We try to bombard the center of the web with high frequencies of light or energy. We try to push against it. Sometimes we try to do that in our lives. Sometimes we try to do it in the course of the healing. And that's really not effective, because what you may do is you may burn a hole in the web, or you may transmute a hole in that web with the light to make space for more light, but ultimately the whole web is still in place. The anchor points are still holding it, and it can reform pretty easily that way. And so that's actually what happens when you see someone who has an illness and it gets cured by modern medicine, thank goodness for modern medicine, but they don't address the root underlying causes of their illness. Then the web has not been dismantled completely, and so the energies can come back. And so that's not to inspire fear, that's to inspire thoroughness. And so what we do want to do, whether you are facilitating healing for someone else or you're helping yourself on a healing journey, is you want to, in consciousness, with divine grace and divine light, and of course sacred space and all permissions, you want to allow the light to show you what are these anchor points that are holding this web of energy in place that's not serving ourselves or someone that we are helping. So for example, you may have, let's say, poverty and financial struggle, okay? So we have this energetic, that's poverty, consciousness, and struggle, and maybe it's been like this web has been building and building, and now we've got this block in our lives. Well, if we look at one of these anchors, maybe that's a false belief that we took on from our parents. So we use the power of forgiveness. To my mother and father, I forgive and release you completely and totally for all of your poverty consciousness and false beliefs around money. I forgive you, please forgive me, let's forgive and release each other, please and thank you, amen. So however forgiveness flows for you, you can use forgiveness to unhook that anchor point. And already that piece of the web has relaxed. Next, you may look over here at another anchor point and see, oh, this is lack of self-worth over here. I'm not believing in myself because I'm doing something that no one else has done before. Oh, so we forgive and release ourselves. I forgive and release you for not knowing how precious you are, how valuable you are. And I call forth that remembrance now. And you go deeper if you need to. And then that anchor point resolves. And then perhaps debts. You're beating yourself up because you have some debts that haven't been resolved. You can relieve that with forgiveness. So systematically, you look in the light and you see, what are these anchor points in consciousness? Is it a contract that needs to be cleared? Is it a false belief system? Is it something we took on from someone else? And you use the power of forgiveness to unravel all these anchor points. And what happens when you release the anchor points of a web? It folds up. It doesn't hold that old energy that's not serving us anymore. In truth, the web itself is neutral. It's the way that it's holding energy in place that doesn't serve us. So if you release the anchor points, the center can move very quickly. So as I mentioned before, if you use high frequencies to just power through the center of a web of energy to move something, it's probably going to require a huge amount of light and energy to shift it, and it may not actually completely resolve all the root causes, which of course can allow that energy to creep back in or only resolve it partially. If, however, we take the depth of attention and patience and we resolve the anchor points and release them into the light through the power of forgiveness, then the center can dissolve. And then whatever frequencies of light, of love, of positive energy and healing we are calling through from the expanded self, the violet flame of transmutation, for example, or our highest selves, the aspects of ourselves known as angels and ascended masters, or just plain old unconditional love and asking that it be resolved. Whatever method you use to bring forth higher frequencies to shift the center of the web will then be far more effective. So the key for yourself or when you're serving others is to focus first on releasing the anchor points, and then the center can shift. And then whatever it is that's manifest in our lives that's not working for us, whether it's just a funky energy or a troublesome relationship or even an illness, has permission to leave. If you have experienced this for yourself, if you have seen anchor points releasing and then allowing the major bulk of an energy to dissolve, I would love to hear about it. Please leave it in the comments below. If you feel like this video has helped you to understand what might need to move and you want to share that as a way of affirming that you're clearing it, go ahead and post it below. And if you're a facilitator who's found this useful in helping others, I'd love to hear about how you have been showing up and serving, of course, respecting all confidentiality and sacred space. Thank you so much for listening. From my heart to yours, may your whole life be drenched and blessed by the divine light and the consciousness that you, O magnificent creator, truly are. Aloha, namaste, and remember, if this has helped you, share it with someone else who it could support. All my love.